The man who conquered the Andes. Close your eyes and imagine the coldest place you've ever been. Now, multiply that by 1,000. You are at 13,000 feet, right in the jagged heart of the Andes Mountains. In 1972, a plane carrying a young rugby team didn't just crash here, it was swallowed by the ice. Nando Parrado woke up from a 3-day coma to a world of white silence. No engines, no birds, just the sound of the wind whistling through the broken fuselage of the plane. His mother was dead. His friends were gone. He was trapped in a place where the air is too thin to breathe and the cold is sharp enough to cut through bone. The search parties had already given up. To the rest of the world, Nando was already a ghost. Days turned into weeks. The small supply of chocolate and wine ran out in 48 hours. There was nothing left but snow and rock. No animals lived this high up. No plants grew in this frozen hell. Nando and the survivors faced a choice that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. To live, they had to eat. But the only food available was the bodies of their teammates frozen in the snow outside the plane. It wasn't a choice about morality anymore. It was a choice about survival. But just when they thought it couldn't get worse, nature struck again. An avalanche roared down the mountain, burying the plane and everyone inside under tons of snow. For 3 days, they lived in a dark, airless tomb, breathing through a small hole in the roof. Most men would have prayed for death. Nando, he just started planning his escape. Nando looked at the massive 17,000-foot peaks surrounding them and realized one thing. No one was coming to save them. He decided that if he was going to die, he would die walking. He didn't have climbing gear. He didn't have a map. He took a sleeping bag made from plane insulation and a pair of worn-out rugby shoes. Along with 2 friends, he began to climb a wall of ice that professional mountaineers wouldn't touch. Every step felt like fire in his lungs. Every night, they huddled together, certain they would never wake up. On the 3rd day, Nando reached the summit of the mountain, expecting to see green valleys on the other side. Instead, he saw more mountains, hundreds of them. But he didn't turn back. He looked at his friend and said, "We may be walking to our deaths, but we are walking." For 10 days, they walked. They were skeletons wrapped in skin, moving through the most brutal terrain on Earth. Their feet were black with frostbite, their minds were slipping into madness. But then, the snow began to thin. The air grew warmer, and suddenly, they heard something impossible, the sound of a rushing river. Across that water, they saw a man on a horse. Sergio Catalan, a Chilean shepherd, looked across the river and saw 3 figures that looked like they had risen from the grave. Nando couldn't even scream. He took a rock, tied a note to it, and threw it across the water with the last of his strength. The note read, "I come from a plane that fell in the mountains. My friends are still up there. Please, I can't walk anymore." Sergio rode for 10 hours without stopping. The miracle of the Andes had begun. Nando Parrado lost almost 100 pounds in those 72 days, but he proved that the human will is stronger than any mountain. He walked out of a grave made of ice just to see his father's face one more time. So, as you watch me carefully align these gears and bring this little machine back to life, Just remember that even when you are buried under a mountain of problems, there is always a way out. You just have to keep walking. Subscribe to DD Media for more stories of the impossible. And next time you're cold, just be glad you're not in the Andes.